Hi all. Sorry I couldn't be there with you tonight at class. Had some work emergencies here that came up that's keeping me from getting there tonight, but Dr. Fabrizio was kind enough to let me send in the video of my Fireside chat so that I could go through the process that I examined for this requirement. So the process that I went through was my commute from here, from work, to Curry, to Massachusetts. There's a lot of variability in this process, and small decisions can have big impacts on whether I get there on time or not. So what I'll do now is I'll walk you through my process map and some of the data that I collected and some of the learnings that I had out of this process. So if we start with, and what I have here is a flow chart of what my process is to get from here, my work, to Curry on time. What I have here is the process steps, and I have the expected time of what I would expect it to take for each step to be able to get to class on time, and essentially leaving at 3 p.m. to get to class by 5:30. Right? So I start here at 3 p.m. And the first thing I have to do is shut down my computer. It takes about 2 minutes. I then pack my bag. That takes another 2 minutes. I then have to decide which way I'm going to leave work. And I can take the short way or the long way, and sometimes the long way is better because I see less people, versus taking the short way, the short way, which sometimes I can find people who need input or updates or have questions, and it can slow my departure to get to the car. So that's one of my decisions I have to make, and a pretty big variable there. What I have here for expected time is about 5 minutes either way. So then once I get out of the office and I leave the parking lot, sometimes that can be quick, sometimes that can be short. It depends. We have a manufacturing environment here where they have shifts that end at 3 p.m. So if I catch that as the shift is leaving, it can take me a little bit longer to get out of work, versus if I leave a little earlier or a little later, I can get out of the parking lot a little bit quicker. And the same even to get on the highway from the parking lot. So I get on to 91 South. I then travel all through North Haven, actually New Haven, which can sometimes be easy. Sometimes there's traffic and sometimes there's not. But typically it's okay. It's about 10 minutes to get through New Haven, and then I get on 95. And 95 is a straight shot all the way up to, basically up to Curry. But traveling through Providence sometimes is a variable here. So I put that as one of my process steps to get through Providence. Typically about 75 minutes from the time I get on 95 to getting through Providence, but again, it depends on if there's accidents, if there's traffic, etc. It then takes about 30 minutes from Providence to get to the exit of Curry, and then off the exit takes me about 8 minutes to get to Curry. Then I've got another decision point here, which is where to park. If I decide to take a chance and park up close to class, and there's no parking spots, and that can take me a little bit longer because then I have to circle back, go down below to where I know there's going to be a parking spot, versus if I just pick the longer way initially, and I know I'll get a parking spot. So it's a little bit of a gamble there as to which will be quicker and which is going to take me a lot more time. I then head into class. Got to use the bathroom. 2.5 hour drive will do that to you, and then I get to class on time, assuming it takes me a total of 90 minutes. And I leave at 3 p.m. So that's my process with the expected time. So what I did was I tracked some of my data over the last 3 times that I went to class, and I was able to determine the durations for each process step. I won't go through each process step here, but what I did was I looked at how long it did actually take me for each one of these steps that I just went through on the chart. I then looked at the variance or the variation between what I would expect it to take and what my shortest and longest were. And there were some interesting things that came out of this. I mean, it kind of correlates to what I said above and what I kind of expected, which was leaving the office is one of my biggest variables. That certainly can go either way depending on who stops me, if it's my boss or if it's something else urgent that can slow me down versus just trying to sneak out of here with nobody seeing me. Getting through New Haven was a pretty big variable. There's a decent amount of variance there. Getting through Providence was probably my biggest variance that I had, because again, depending if you leave 15 minutes earlier or later, you can have a pretty big difference in whether I hit traffic or if there's an accident, if there's road work, etc. That can actually have a pretty big impact on my timing. So pretty large differences there in my traveling through Providence. And the rest of them were fairly, there's a decent variation in getting to Curry then after through Providence, but not as big as some of the other ones. So once I did that, then I calculated my standard deviation, was able to look up the z-value and got my probability of getting to class on time. And my probability of getting to class on time if I leave at 3 o'clock is 84%. So it's actually a little bit, it's actually pretty decent percentage-wise, given all the variability and all the different decisions that have to be made along the way to get to class on time. If I leave at 3 o'clock, my probability of getting to class at 5:30 or into class by 5:30 is at 84% probability. So decent odds, maybe not as much as good as Dr. Fabrizio would like to see, but at least I'm better than 50% here. So it's an interesting process to walk through what I do every Thursday and try to get some data around it and actually even be able to calculate what my probability is of getting to class on time. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a good day.